And yet another pair of West Indies opening batsmen. And they change him as quickly as Michael Schumacher changes gears. And in fact, we've got Murray and Chanderpaul now coming out to open the batting. We'll be back to see the start of the West Indies innings in a while.
And at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to the two batsmen opening the innings for the West Indies. The very prolific run scorers, very much unformed, Shiv Chanderpaul and Shiv. Opening the bowling for South Africa from the North Pole from London, Steve Elworthy.
Ready? Play!
So here's the first ball of the West Indies innings with Steve Elworthy back in the team. West Indies needing 275 to win the match. It's 1-1 in the series, and this is a crucial engagement.
24 years old, and yet he's played 57 games, and that average of 36 is really not too bad at all, considering that he's moved up and down the order in the West Indies side.
Well, those were the kind of deliveries he was spanking for 4 from the very beginning at Buffalo Park on Sunday. Really took Jack Collis to task early on, just missing that one, and would reckon that he's missed out.
Just a slip and a silly point in. Traditionally, we would see a couple of slips in position. Remember, theoretically, they've all got to be within 15 meters. Doesn't apply to the slips. But on this occasion, Hansi Cronje having one slip in Daryl Cullinan and Jacques Cullis in there at short point.
Well, again, he's missed out on that. It is quite remarkable with batsmen how they can be absolutely dominant in one innings and then come back out in the next. And there's a nice juicy full toss. All he needed to do was open the face of the bat and just let it run down towards a backward point. Missed out.
I think that's caused because we're all human, not machines.
So Elworthy being allowed here to settle. A couple of wayward deliveries. He's got away with them, and he'll feel relieved at that. This is only his 9th one-day international. Played against West Indies in the final in that tournament in Dhaka. Also Sri Lanka, 3 for 21 then. Got it through. Well, not a particularly good over from Elworthy, and the last ball just finding the gap through the offside for 4. Chanderpaul wants strapping for his bat. Seemed to be in pretty good order for that shot. Just threading it between extra cover and mid-off. Lance Lusner couldn't get around in time. and to the boundary. So Junior Murray opening the batting, as he did here in the Test match when he got 29 in both innings. Average of 22.6. His 51st one-day international. Now that highest score there, 86 against Pakistan, there's a story behind it. It was in the series in 96-97 in the World Series in Australia. And the West Indies opening pair, Sherwin Campbell and Robert Samuels, and then Adrian Griffith, the other acknowledged opener, were struggling, and he was used and he came off with very good effect. Now Klusner, diving at that ball in the outfield, seems to have damaged himself. He's just limping off the ground, and this could be pretty bad news for South Africa if he can't come back out.
I get the impression that he spiked himself as he dived there, but you know, that's just the impression. It seems that there's something on the front of his right leg, and you see how he goes down there, and yes, it looks as though the left spike got him in the right shin, and it's probably bleeding, might need a stitch or two, but hopefully he'll be back. Now Andrew Hall on debut, his first ball for South Africa.
And right on spot for Andrew Hall, one of the new players introduced by South Africa. Let's have a look at the injury to Lance Klusner. Judging by that picture, he seemed more intent on getting his sunglasses back.
It's not a good angle from there. From the other angle, you could almost definitely see that he spiked himself. That's Nicky Boyer as the 12th man taking his place.
Now, how that missed. Andrew Hall within a coat of varnish of getting his first wicket.
Absolutely brilliant delivery, and look how it leaves the right-hander and shaving the off stump. Also, Mark Boucher taking it well above shoulder high. Now, interesting to watch as well. Watch how he follows through. Tremendous follow through from him. He almost can shake hands with the batsman at the end of it. Not that he'd want to particularly.
Fired that return back in, and very good captaincy here by Cronje. He knows that Junior Murray, like most of the West Indies batsmen, are hard hitters, boundary hitters, and he stationed himself right back on the 30-yard circumference, and that really was cracked by Murray.
Well, South Africa hasn't produced many more brilliant fielders than they've got in the covers at the moment. Jonty Rhodes in his usual position at backward point. But in the meantime, let's watch Andrew Hall coming at a nice angle. Quite a usual thing for a fast bowler to angle his run up. Nicely, reasonably close, and very risky delivery. But watch the follow through here, and he carries on almost, as I said, to the batsman.
Beautiful shot, cracked away. Superb stroke by Junior Murray to get off the mark. That's the square cut played in the approved fashion, right on top of it, and timed beautifully.
Well, Andrew Hall finding that the margin for error at this level is not great. This ball, he would have thought in normal provincial cricket, wasn't a bad one, but Junior Murray cutting it away superbly. Even though it was angling in from a slightly wider angle, Andrew Hall had gone wider over the crease for that delivery. Grimace from him as it goes for 4.
So just that boundary in the first over from Hall, and the West Indies 8 without loss.
That's the fire brigade who rescued the parachutist earlier.
Heard about being up the creek without a paddle, but being up the tree without a parachute is a new twist on that story. chance on that, but rather careless by Chanderpaul, just an airy-fairy offer outside the off stump.
Well, we never saw Steve Elworthy in any sort of rhythm in his first over, but this was a lot better. Once again, you see wicketkeeper Boucher taking it over shoulder height, and a loose shot from the opening batsman.
Won't get it through this time. Lance Clousno was in that position where he damaged himself, and now the substitute Nicky Boye is out there. Struck well, but not the placement he had in the last over.
Nicky Boye, just another one of the young brilliant fielders that South Africa is producing. Remember, he's a left-hander, so he had to turn and throw the ball with his left hand there.
Well struck. Deliberately got under it and hit it over point. Had the width.
This one rockets past Jacques Callis, who's in there at silly point, 15 meters away. And so he bends his knee. It went high over Jacques Callis in the end. One hand off the bat.
I think that's epitomizing the expression, throwing the bat at the ball. Got that through as well. The outfield is fast, but so are the South African fielders. Brilliantly pulled back and a good return. And that's got the crowd to life.
Two Dolphins members hurtling for that ball, Dale Benkenstein, and he was the one who flicked it back to Jonty Rhodes. Once again, Steve Elworthy giving a little bit of width to Chanderpaul, and he enjoys that. There's Benkenstein just deciding how to flick it back before doing so.
Just wide. What an effort. Well, he talked about the Dolphins. Fielder up there isn't one. Herschel Gibbs plays for Western Province, but with that he could well have been a Dolphin.
Well, we've seen some incredibly brilliant catches from him during the Test series particularly, and this time he almost seemed to overbalance slightly as he went for it, and then had to dive off balance and only managed to parry it away. Bit of bad luck for Steve Elworthy there.
An eventful over, 15 without loss.
Steve Elworthy, his career record is well into the 5 per over, and fortunately for South Africa, he's continuing that here. 2 overs have cost him 11 runs, as the West Indies have raced to 15 in 3 overs.
Here's that effort by Herschel Gibbs, really long way to his right, did well to get the hand to it. But we've seen enough of the South African fielders, and he especially in the series, to know that when they get their hands to the ball, it very rarely pops out. So good fortune there for Chanderpaul. As we come to the 4th over, Lara in at number 3 there, with McLean being slipped down the order. McLean batting at number 3 in the first 2 matches. Lara has put himself at number 3 there. Was inclined to open the batting. Talked about going in first, Brian Lara, before this match. Here's Andrew Hall.
Lots of encouragement for the debutant. This is his record in the domestic cricket, 32 wickets, so you can see that he is an attacking bowler. Runs per over, slightly expensive, just over 4, but managed a wonderful 3 for 13 in Pal earlier in the season.
Played that pull shot very commandingly at Buffalo Park, especially against Jack Callis. They don't always come off on balls that are not really short enough for the shot.
couple of rugby players up in the in Castle Corner, Andre Gilbert being one of them. Gary Tashman, Henry Honeyball, all together. So in Standard Bank League games, he's also been fairly productive, getting just over about 1.5 wickets per game at a reasonable run rate. Talented young man, played for Transvaal Schools as reserve wicketkeeper batsman.
Conley anticipating very well, but it's got too much legs on it. Beats him to the boundary, so another 4 for Murray.
Slightly overpitched, and once again, no margin for error for a new bowler here at this level. Junior Murray giving himself room there, foot going outside leg stump before crashing it to the offside.
That's what he's out here for. That top score you saw early on of 86 was in the first time he opened the innings for the West Indies in one-day internationals. Just a reference back to that Standard Bank League. That's the limited overs competition here in South Africa. It's played in between the first class competition, Super Sport 4-day series. Unlike the West Indies, which now, in the past 3 seasons, have separated the 2 competitions. So they're 2 separate seasons, so to speak. One for the first class and one for the one-day. Well struck. That's a very good hit by Murray over the top. Well, he's in there to do that, and he's doing it pretty well now. 24 without loss.
Well, we've seen the ball hasn't swung again. It's this new ball. It isn't the kookaburra that's being used in local competition as far as I can remember. And none of the bowlers are able to move it through the air. Batsman taking advantage of that. Two
4s in the over. Here's the one off the last ball.
See that Junior Murray is coming towards Andrew Hall. Look at this. He's getting out of the crease. It wasn't a half volley by any means, but he's hitting through the line and connects very well.
Just a deflection from Boyer. They'll come back for the second.
His Free State teammate and captain, Nancy Cranier, finishes up the fielding after Nicky Boyer just parries it away. It was almost an orthodox half volley. It was well struck.
He's on for the injured Lance Klusner. Over the top, well struck by Chanderpaul. Another boundary. Quite a frenzied start here for the West Indies.
Yes, and we're seeing the South African reserve strength being put under pressure by the savage attack.
Deliberate shot with the limitations on the field placing. And he's got that away as well. He's in pretty good touch, this fellow.
Yes, once he gets going, he's extremely difficult to dislodge, and this was a gift for him. The bouncer wasn't high enough, was just in the right place, and he just parries it away here, times it beautifully, and it's a 1 bounce ball.
Well, he's put that over the top now. Deep square leg has been put out. I don't think they're too interested in what's going on in the middle. feel sorry for the 4-1 on the bottom there. In the air, that's down towards the boundary, that's gone, he's caught it, but he's over, is he? He hasn't held on to it. That's a superb piece of thinking by the fielder on the third man boundary. Umpire Diedrich was asked for the television replay.
This is an incredible piece of cricket. Look, it was a loose shot. Good bowling by Steve Elworthy. It goes high in the air. Andrew Hall gets under it, but he's running back very fast to the boundary and has to flick it in, but not in time. You see, he's touching the boundary rope. That's going to be a 4. He tries to flick it back to save the boundary, but I don't think it will be given to him. As soon as the umpire hears, I think you'll see the batsmen change around. Well, they're not. As far as I'm concerned, no, it's 6. Well, there it is. He's now been given the 6 runs because his toes touched the rope as he went over.
Well, it certainly was a quick piece of thinking by Hall. He realized he couldn't hold on to the ball without going over the boundary, and in an attempt, there he goes, flicks it back, but he's just touched the rope with his feet, and well, let's give credit to him, unfortunate for him. And good batting by Chanderpaul now. He's pushed the field back, and just a push down to mid-off for a single.
So the West Indian innings has started off in a blaze of action. All sorts of action there. Chanderpaul into the 20s already. Murray some fine shots in his 12 not out. And West Indies at the moment dominating.
End of another eventful over. 41 without loss after 5. A very expensive over from Elworthy. Hansi Cronje has some thinking to do, and he's a very good thinker. So let's see what he'll do in this situation.
There's 17 runs of Steve Elworthy's over, so Hansi Cronje has to do something, and he has done it. Now let's look at the action by Andrew Hall. Remember, he walked in, then had to run back and took the catch, but he was in his momentum going towards the boundary. His toe touches the line. Just too late, he flicks the ball back, and the umpire quite rightly signals 6 runs. So after 5 overs, it's 41 for none, well ahead of the South African run rate of 3. And Hansi Cronje, that forced change that he's had to make is Pat Simcox. Now, unfortunately for him, Lance Klusener is off the field, so he can't use him as first change bowler, which I'm pretty sure he would have.
The thing with South Africa, however, is we watch Simcox's background there. He's a very experienced cricketer, not only 75 one-day internationals, but a long career, age of 38, very wily campaigner. Even with Klusener off, and that's a blow for South Africa, but they have so many players, batsmen who can bowl almost all the way down the order, and that's their strength. Similar with Australia, who used 7 bowlers in the match against England, which they won in Adelaide the other night, and yet didn't use 2 others. So he's got a lot of options.
Yes, a big problem here, of course, is that there are only 2 allowed out of the circle, and you must have 2 within 15 meters. So there are lots of gaps in the field at the moment. Now, Pat Simcox has decided to come over the wicket to the left-hander, so he's obviously going to attack a leg stump or thereabouts. And you can see from the first ball that it's just outside. He's got 5 men on the leg side, 3 obviously within the circle and 2 out.
Keep watching his feet, Jasima. Come on, boy.
Those 2 men on the boundary, the 2 men outside the field restricting area at deep forward square leg. And Chanderpaul has gone inside out and hit him over mid-off. That's a fine stroke.
Yes, he's a man playing with great confidence now, and this, as I said, is the problem for Pat Simcox, because a man who's playing well, he's got 30 yard, and Hansi Cronje simply can't put enough fielders out of the circle to stop this kind of attack.
What he's wanted to do here is just to slow things down a bit. Of course, a wicket would be very valuable, but he just wants to pull things back, calm things down. But both batsmen are really going great guns.
And Joe. Let's go, fellas.
Played that very well. Good piece of cricket all round. Simcox saw him coming, dropped it in short, and still Chanderpaul could nudge it away for a single.
But singles would make Hansi Cronje happy at this stage. Chanderpaul looking for two, but Nicky Boyer doing the fielding very well. Delay as the field is changed for the right-hand batsman. And once again, there's 5 on the leg side.
The ball, come on.
Murray will be advised just to watch Simcox here early on. Chanderpaul is really going at the other end. No need for him to do anything rash. He's got it through. Too many men on the leg side, not enough on the off. And a bad delivery from Simcox, well put away. So the West Indies raised their 50 off 6 overs, and it's been a tremendous start for them in pursuit of their 273 to win the match.
Incredible start from the West Indies. In only 36 balls, they've got to their first 50, and it's been helped by some fairly loose deliveries by the South African bowlers. And that last one, this one that we're seeing now, epitomizes that. Short and wide with only 4 men on the offside, and nicely punished by Junior Murray.
So a rapid fire 50 for the West Indies, and it's going to be Steve Elworthy who will continue. Left-handed Chanderpaul in strike. And he'll come through for the single. Junior Murray, that used very successfully in Australia in that series, that World Series, the last time the West Indies were there. He got 2 half centuries as well, in addition to that 86 against Pakistan. And yet when he got back to the Caribbean for a series immediately afterwards against India and Sri Lanka, he found himself dropped from the team. And in fact, he's only now reappeared in the West Indies team. He had 1 match last year against England, got injured, and this is his first match of this series.
Now, you see when Steve Elworthy gets his rhythm going, relaxes, bowls a line and length, he really gets something out of a pitch which has been docile throughout the day. This ball leaves the right hand and bounces beautifully. Now, that's what the South African selectors want from this man. They want him to put the ball more in a spot like that and trouble the batsman.
Murray just easing towards the leg side, looking to give himself room to free his arms.
It was almost a huge step rather than in ease there, but this makes it so difficult for the bowler to bowl at. You see, Steve Elworthy's performance in Johannesburg, he went for over 5 and over there, and not an auspicious start so far for him here.
No, that's just a swipe. That's just an unorthodox agricultural swipe, and Chanderpaul has told him as much. He's hit the ball cleanly, he's played some fine shots so far, no need for that.
Yes, exactly, but it's the sign of what could happen if Steve Elworthy puts the ball in the right place enough. He's going to put pressure on the batsman to play rather unorthodox shots.
Let's see what his reaction will be. Chanderpaul did have a word with him. You saw him nod to Chanderpaul after the delivery.
Now that was as quick a delivery as we've seen all night. In fact, I would venture to say it was far quicker than anything we saw from the West Indies, and it really almost took Junior Murray's head off.
Not above the level of the shoulder. We saw Rion King deliver one in the South African innings early on. Just a marginal call, but it looked to be below the level of the shoulder. King's was above and was given a no ball. If it does go above the level of the shoulder, it will be a no ball.
Pinned him, and that really hit him hard. A very, very quick delivery. Signalled no ball by Wilf Diedrichs, because as Tony has just said to you, it was above shoulder high. Hit him on the ear, and he's feeling for blood. He's obviously shaken, because no matter how good these helmets are, those things hurt enormously. He's late on it. You can see very, very late on it. Manages to turn his head, and thankfully, because he's not wearing a visor, this one hitting him straight on the earpiece. Steve Elworthy bowling superbly here for South Africa. Look at, very late on it, and whack on the ear. Probably broken the earpiece as well. So it's just as well the attendants are running onto the field to give him a little breather, see whether he can collect himself. Yes, his helmet, he's signalling for another helmet. The helmet is broken.
And just on the air there, Dennis Waite and Darren Ganger have come out to pay some attention to Junior Murray. And a really fiery response, and a typical fast bowler's response, even though it's a limited overs game, from Steve Elworthy. He's been knocked around by Chanderpaul and by Murray, and he's given Murray two really quick short deliveries, two bouncers. The first one flashing past his chest, and this one getting him hooking and getting him all cramped up and taking him on the air flap.
Now Steve Elworthy has been chosen for South Africa because the selectors have seen him perform on other occasions just like this. He can generate superb pace at times, but on other occasions he seems to tense up and doesn't let the ball go. Here he's really angry at being smacked around, and he's making the batsman pay.
Junior Murray should soon be up. I saw the world heavyweight champion receive the same type of treatment when he last fought a chap by the name of Mike Tyson.
So I think he had less left of the earlobe than Junior Murray's got at that stage. One of the difficulties, I think, for Dennis Waite is to get anything to stick when he's perspiring so much. You see his feet are outside the crease when he gets hit by that as well, and if he'd gone back into the stumps, he might have had just a fraction more time to play the stroke.
Well, perhaps the new helmet will keep that in place. The adrenaline is running, the perspiration is dripping. We've got a good confrontation here, and it's going to be very interesting to see what Junior Murray's reaction will be. Now, Dennis Waite is asking him, do you think he should stay on?
Yes, you know, you can't overemphasize the fact that he's going to be shaky, and he's just shaking the head to see if he's all right, because there's no point in him staying out there if he's going to give his wicket away in the next couple of deliveries. So it's very important that he makes the right decision now.
Just taking a few tablets. He'll have a headache later on. He's already got a little bump behind the ear. And we've had a delay for about 5 minutes. So he's back on his feet. Well, he never went down, but he's ready, let's say.
Took a standing counterbait.
Here's Elworthy. have to hurry. And they do. So the end of a very eventful and a long over from Steve Elworthy. It's 53 without loss after 7.